Okay, so it's time to talk about environment variables. And environment variables, they store data that is used by the operating system and other programs. There are some of these environment variables that are intrinsic to the operating system. Some are for specific programs or libraries, maybe a specific programming language, and some can also be created by the user. And you may use them also in scripts, for instance. And they can also be used on the command line, of course. Usually you reference them by putting a special symbol in front of them or around the variable name. By convention, environment variable names are uppercase. Some examples of environment variables could be $home, that is your home directory, and $pwd is a variable that points to your current directory. It contains the same as you get as output from the command pwd. The LD library path is a colon-separated list of directories that the dynamic linker should search for shared objects before searching in any other directory. So you use that when you are installing some program, compiling it, building something. OMP non-threads is the number of OpenMP threads, and you use that when you are doing threaded functions or something. And Python path is a path to the directory where your Python libraries and packages are installed. So that is some examples. And when you want to see the content of an environment variable that is like here named environment variable, you say echo to get what's in it, and then you put a $ in front of it, and then the name of it. So let's try and say echo and $home. And that tells me my home directory, it has this path. And echo $pwd. That is a path to this directory I'm in, and it's the same as pwd in this case. And LD library path or paths or something like this, you usually would set if you want your program or whatever you're installing to search in a specific place. You can get a list of all your environment variables that are currently set with the command env for the environment. And you can also use print env. Default, they will work the same. So env, you get a lot of variables. For instance, here is the path. And the path is where your operating system as default looks for executables. And here is, for instance, $home, your home directory, and what your username is, and many other things. It also tells us what the desktop session I am running, and I am running XFCE. So you can see here, it sets a lot of different variables. And print env is not installed on this machine. It should be, I spelled it wrong. That's why. So that should also give you the same output, more or less. You can see here the path. Other things, it's just in a slightly different order. You can use print env to request the value of an individual variable. And you can use env to modify the environment that programs run in by passing a set of variable definitions in a command in this way. So env variable equals what you want it to be, command to run, and command options. So you saw before I could echo and then $home. And then I got the content of the variable home. And if I then say print n home, then I will also get the same. You can see here, you don't put the dollar in front of it here. So, but yes, you can use this to see what is these environment variables you have and what is the content of them. Some environment variables need to be exported in order to be used. And you do that in bash by saying export the name of the variable equals some value. In C shell and similar shells, you will use set n variable and then the value. One example here could be you had again the OMP num threads, and it's not set on my machine because I have not set it. And on some of the clusters, it would be set as default probably to 1, because it would usually just have one thread, but you could of course export it, which you would do if you're running on several threads. So let's try and do that. I'm exporting OMP num threads, and I'm setting it to 4. And then I am using arrow up to get to the command prompt 4 and say echo and the content of this OMP num threads, and you can see it's now set to 4. So that is how you would set a value for an environment variable. You can also create your own variables. And if you wanted to create one, then in this case I'm calling mine, and I set it to user bin gcc. So I say export mine equals, and then user bin gcc. And I can see what it is set to with echo $mine. So it's set to user bin gcc. And now, until you have started a new session, you can use $mine instead of gcc because it is set to this value here. I don't know if I have anything here. I have hello C, so I'm going to use that, and I'm going to try and do GCC on it just to show what it would do. And it compiled it, so now I have a.out, which I could run. And now I will remove a.out, and then I will instead say $mine, and then hello, let's see. And I again got a.out, so it actually worked just like GCC did, and I can run it. So this is an example of setting an environment variable, and it will exist until I close this session, because I have not added it to my bash RC or my configuration for where I could set paths and things like this. So examples here, the content of path we already saw, and yeah, you can set the number of OpenMP threads to whatever you want. I set it to 4. You can change it and set it to 8 or something else. When you are exporting a environment variable, given it a value, you do not put the $sign. You just say export the name of the variable equals what you are setting it to. When you are looking up what it is set to, when you are using it, you are saying $sign and the name of the environment variable. So a more useful example of creating your own variable might be if you have a script that you run in a different directory than where you have the data files. I can see I have a formatting issue here. But I could use an environment variable to give the path to the directory instead of each time I am running, I give the path directly. So here I'm simply making an environment variable that I'm calling data path, and I'm setting that to where I have my data. And then when I want to run some of these data sets here, use some of them, I don't need to stand in this directory, and I don't need to put the whole path in front of it. I can just say $data path slash the name of this of the program or the data set or whatever, and then my script will find it even if I'm in another directory. So another thing that is common to set is the LD library path. And that also is often used when you are compiling something. So you are setting it so that the program that you are compiling or building can find, for instance, well, it could be it was looking for LAPACK or something, so you would need to add the path to that to your LD library path. So it's finding things like math libraries and such. And you do that the exact same way, so you export it. But since you probably already had some value to the library path, then you are now saying the new value of the library path should be the old value, and then with a new path added after it. So I will try and look at what I have set the library path to this now. And it's not set to anything. So I could export it directly because it's not set. So I would say in the library path equals slash user slash lib. Maybe I should take slash opt, because user lib it will search automatically. So now I'm telling it to look in the path opt lib. So now I'm echoing it. It contains this here. And I want to keep the slash opt slash lib. So, and I'm going to add one more path. So I say export. And then in the library path should now be set to what it is already set to. So $sign LD library path, and then a colon, because that is used as a separator between the different paths. So I'm now adding user or something that. And then if I'm now echoing the ND library path, then it has the value it had before. And also it will look in this place here. So this way you can add several paths to it. And this again is not persistent between sessions. You need to place it in your bash RC as well, a configuration file, in order for it to be read when you start this, the system, or when you start a new shell. And that is what I'm saying here also. So you would add it to your bash RC. And your bash RC, as you probably know, in your home directory. So I say $home.bash RC. Then there is indeed such a file. And I could open it to see how it looks. And you can see there's a lot of stuff inside of it. And I have some aliases to find and other things. So but there you would put your LD library path and your path to executables and things like this. And if you quickly want to add a new directory to your LD library path in your bash RC so it becomes persistent, then you could do it this way with echo. And then, as you know, echo will simply repeat what is given to it in the quotation marks. And there I'm putting this command, export LD path, and that means this whole thing here goes into with override, no, with append. I'm using append to this, append redirect to my.bash rc file. And that means that it will simply be added after everything else in your .bash rc file, just as we saw in the previous section where we talked about the redirection. And of course, you would change this path here to the actual path to the directory for the library. And that means then it will still be there next time you start a shell or the session, and that means that now when you're running some program that is looking for this library, it will be able to find it because it's been told that it can search in this path. So I have some exercises for you to do. I am just first going to quickly go over the summary, and then we'll take maybe 10 minutes for the exercises. So the key points here were that environment variables are used to store data used by the operating system and other programs. And then I'm listing some of the common environment variables that we talked about, and mentioning that you can create your own environment variables, and the commands env and printenv are useful. So, time for exercises. These are not so difficult, but it's mainly take a look at it, see which environment variables are set at your computer with env. Try use echo to see the content of $pwd, just to see that it actually gives you the path to the directory you're in. You can try change directory and run it again. And also do the creation of your own variable, and then use echo to see it has the right value. And you can also use printenv to see that you again here also get the value of an environment variable. If you want to do something extra, you could also try adding a new path to LD library paths. If it doesn't have one already, then you could first set this value to it. Okay, but 10 minutes and then we'll continue.